welcome to Garrett's Games. My name is Doug.
My name's Shelley.
And we are a long-running audio podcast as well as a less than long-running video podcast about board games. We play board games, we talk about board games, we interview game designers, we have board game roundtables on our audio podcast, which is almost now reaching its 1,000th episode. More on that in a minute. But this week we have Castle Raisers. This is from Wonderful World Board Games, designed by Erwan, Minous, and Anthony Perone. It's for 1 to 4 players. It plays in about 45 minutes. It is both a co-op, solo, and can be played competitively. We've played it competitively, which is pretty awesome. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But before we do, we want to talk about and address the fact that we are about to reach our 1,000th episode of our audio podcast. 19 and a half years that we've been doing that. All right. And in order to celebrate, we are having a giveaway contest that involves our video channel. But we're going to talk about it over on our audio channel to give out who's going to win. And that is 3 different listeners who enter the contest can get games. Get games from Bezier. Get games from Amigo. Get games from Pandasaurus. Great stuff that you have the chance to win. And all you have to do is 2 things. Number 1, you have to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's easy. You're watching our videos right now. So just go down there and click on the subscribe and you got that part done. What's the second part?
There's another part that you have to do, which is to make a comment about one of the videos that's happened during this month.
Okay, and that's really easy because you're watching one of them right now.
Right.
Okay, and we also covered the 3 Kenner Spiel des Jahres nominees. That is a German Game of the Year, and you can watch those. Those are the last 3 episodes. So any of those or this one would count for getting you registered for the contest. So go and do that, or just click pause. Or, hey, finish watching this video and then comment on this one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So without further ado, we are talking about Castle Raisers. So Castle Raisers is based on the 3 Little Pigs story. Now, Shell, as a 3rd grade teacher, taught the 3 Little Pigs story. Right. And so, I saw this and I'm like, well, we got to check this out. I thought it might be, more of like a kid's game. Turns out, no. This has got some really fun, family-friendly, but good stuff going on, where we are going to be building 3D castles on each of our boards here to try to repel the wolf army that is coming to attack us. And notice that our boards are divided into 3 sections, right? We've got a blue section here, a yellow section, and a green section. And those are the 3 sections that the wolves are going to be attacking us from at the very end of the game. So over the course of the game, over the course of 1, 2, 3 eras, we are going to be building up our castles, literally building up, and with straw and wood and stone arcs of castle walls, right? We're going to be trying to earn prestige. I'm going to put this over here and have you as a start player.
Oh, thank you.
We are going to be putting in village elements, these hexes, which give us both extra actions and end game scoring, which is down at the bottom of each of these hex tiles. We are going to possibly attack each other because we, want to send the wolves over to our opponent's castles rather than having them come to us, and maybe even have to deal with arrows coming in at the end of each era, which are negative points at the end of the game. All right, so how is this going to start? Well, at the beginning of the game, we are each going to be able to draft one of these hex tiles and place it on this initial spot that has a little pig on it, which is very cute. And so say I draft this one, all right? This one has a end game scoring on it, which is going to be 3 points for each green tile that I have in the area in which this is placed, but it also gives me an extra wall building action, and we'll talk about all the actions, but you always have 1 action because that's what's in the middle of your castle, and that corresponds to each section. But when you place these, when you trigger actions in a particular sections, you could have more of a particular action depending upon these tiles in there. So I come in, I place this here, and then Shell...
And notice that it doesn't have to match the color. The blue's over here, but this is in green.
That's a good point.
That's not a problem.
And so Shelley drafts this one,
okay,
and she puts it here. Now this is the cauldron, okay? And this is Wolf getting rid of stuff. And hers is going to be 3 points for every yellow tile that might be in that section.
So in this green area here.
Right. Now, one of the cool things about the board is you'll notice that the hex tiles, 3 of those spots get divided in half. So when I put a hex in one of these 3 spots, they correspond to both of them. So for example, if Shell had this tile, she's going to have this initial tile, but if she had drafted it later and put it here, then all of the yellow tiles that would be in this area and this area would count for 3 points at the end of the game. So that's something that you're paying attention to as you are building. I should say that our boards get seeded with wolves. We've got wolves around here.
And there are different types of wolves,
Exactly. So for example, you got your basic wolf with just a sword. You've got your uber wolf with that takes a couple of things to get rid of. You've got your archer wolf, right? And then Shelley's got one over here.
That's a ladder.
Exactly. So she's got the ladder wolf over there. So we'll talk about what those do in a minute. Once everybody has drafted here, you get to refill this board. And one of the 5 actions that can be taken on a turn is getting one of these hex tiles. You'll notice on our castle boards, and I'll show you on this one, the castle walls have the various actions on them in symbols. And as you cover over a particular symbol, you trigger it as an action. So, for example, every round is going to start with, regardless of the number of players, placing out 4 of that particular era's walls. There we go. And Shelley, as the start player, I'm going to move these just off so she can see them, is going to draft from this and then place that wall somewhere on her castle wall to build it up.
And since it's 2 players, there's going to be a slight difference in what we do, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to grab this one. I think it's pretty good. It's got a cauldron and it's got the ones that give us these colored pieces here.
Right.
But I'm going to only place it on where I think I want to do it, which is going to be, there's little lines here for starting on the tile, and there's lines on the board.
And those have to line up.
Right, so if I cover here, that means that the thing I cover up is the action I'm going to take. So this one says I'm going to be getting a castle wall piece.
Extra castle wall piece, not ones from that we draft from, but these extras. And notice they're cutouts because they don't cover up the actions on the walls as you place them.
And I just can't place it exactly on top of this one, but I don't have to place it here if I want. I could place it over here if I wanted, right?
Exactly.
So I'm thinking I'm going to place it over there.
All right, okay. The other thing that Shelley does in a 2-player game is she then has to get rid of one of the other tiles to make my choices that much more limiting. So
in a 4-player, though.
In a 4-player, all 4 are going to go.
You're going to take them all. So if I took this one, for example, there's 2 of them here. That one is going to be thrown out, but because there is this
this is
attack.
The wolf attack, all right? So usually if you cover that up on your own board, then everybody else is going to be attacked. But in a 2-player game, if this is one of the ones that gets discarded, both of us are going to be attacked by the game, okay? So if Shelley throws this out, not only am I going to be attacked, but Shelley's going to be attacked too. We draw one of these.
So I draw one of these, and I happen to pick blue.
And that means we both have to draw a wolf and place it in our blue area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we are.
Yep.
Okay. Now, from that, now it's my turn, and I have 2 to draft from. And I'm looking at all of these archers, and we'll talk about why that's a problem in a minute. But I think this would be a good one to draft so that I have a cauldron ready to go so I can start getting rid of things. And you know what? I think I'm going to be a little mean. And I'm going to place mine right here. And
you covered
that means I covered
an
attack. So that means I get to draw one of these these attack tokens. And even though my attack is in green, and so I will place this attack when I'm done with it in the green area, Shelley has to put a wolf in her yellow region.
So I'm going to do that and grab one from here. And I got an uber bad one. That's not good. That's not good. Okay.
And so then this last one, because we didn't take it, we're both going to have to draw again. Oh my goodness. And it is going to go in green this time. So I've got one, and I have to put one in green, and so on and so forth. Okay. So that is a round.
That's a round.
Right? Everybody's gotten one thing in. We've got, and we're building up. Over the course of the game, of course, you're going to be building up. So say, I had placed so that I got walls. Whenever I place another one, I'm going to place it so I'm covering two different walls, right? And so that would be a key there, and so on and so forth. And you build up at the end of an era. So once we've gotten 4 draws,
all the straw gone,
then we're going to look at our castle wall. And wherever we have a cauldron, we are going to be able to eliminate a wolf, if possible, from that area. So, for example, I have a cauldron here. I've got 2 wolves. Well, these super wolves, they take 2 cauldrons to be able to get through.
Yeah.
So I could get rid of this guy. And I've got a cauldron over here, so I can get rid of one of my archers, which is important.
That's a good one to get rid of, yeah.
Shell has 1 cauldron over here.
Okay, so, and I have one with arrows, the archer. So I'm going to get rid of that one, because if I keep that at the end of the era, or when the straw is gone.
Yeah, which is what we're at.
At this point. Then there's going to be an arrow that's going to be shot at me, and then, of course, that will be a negative at the end.
Right, and that's what I'd have to now look. Okay, so I've eliminated any wolves, but I've got 1, 2, 3 archers, so I have to take 3 negatives here. Oh, no.
And I actually don't have any negatives.
And Shelley doesn't have any. She's very happy.
Very good first third for me.
Yes, exactly. Now, the key for the game now is as we are building up, so say, we've built up, I want to take a few things here.
Yeah.
And I've built up
there
on that and around here. And let me just make sure that I've got... Okay, so one thing that happens is as I build and I cover, notice that as you build, you're going to cover 2 actions rather than just doing 1 like we had at the beginning of the game. And for every hex that you've got in that area, so if I cover, for example, this thing and I cover this wall building, I have 1 automatic action of wall building, but because this hex also has a wall building, I actually get 2 wall builds when I'm doing it in this area. So you're paying attention to not only how you're building up, and of course, remember, it has to be flat on the area. I could not have built this over here because that would be imbalanced. But I would make sure I get 2 actions and you're kind of building up. And so, it could be that you don't have very much wall on one side and you've built up a lot on the other side, which is kind of interesting.
And what's interesting is all the blue has to do with those wall builds, right?
Right.
But it does depend on the area that you're building it.
Yes.
So
the red is attack. So if somebody had this in here, like if I had this in here, if ever I did an attack in either the blue or the yellow area, it would be 2 attacks on everybody else in the game. So that's something to pay attention to.
So you would basically put this in that area,
exactly.
Right? You'd flip one of these,
flip one of those. I would put it in the area. And then, of course, Shelley would have to put in 2 wolves drawn
into
from
that
the
area,
bag.
right?
This is for cauldrons, the green. So you get multiple cauldron dumps. And what's the story about the soup?
Yeah, so, in the 3 Little Pigs, basically.
I didn't know this.
In some versions of 3 Little Pigs, the wolf is coming down the chimney, and so they decide really fast to put a boiling water, boiling broth under the fire. The wolf falls in and they eat the wolf.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's one version.
Wow. Okay.
So the cauldron is important for getting rid of the wolves.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, I didn't know that. The other one, the yellow, is prestige. Now, this is the way. So if I, for example, covered up this one in this area, built up and covered up this prestige, I would become the start player, and I would get a prestige token, and I would be able to place that in the area that I had covered up. Now, at the end of the game, we are going to, of course, have a bunch of wolves, possibly. Maybe we've eliminated some because we've used those cauldrons and such.
We've done it properly.
Exactly. And then we are going to do the scoring. And so the first thing is, of course, arrows are -1 for every arrow that you have had to take from those horrible archers that are shooting their arrows in. The second thing is we look at the height of the walls, and as long as there's at least one level. So this, even though there's nothing here,
right,
this has a 2 level in this area. So every level in an area repels at least one wolf. So this wolf would not get in. These 2 wolves in this area where I have a 3 level would not get in. But this, I've got only one little, 2 of these guys are getting in, okay? And you look at each of the 3 regions, the person who has the most wolves that gets into the castle from that region is losing -10 points. So we're talking about, possibly 10, 20, 30 minus. So you got to be paying attention on that.
So, and then if you have a ladder that you have not gotten rid of.
A wolf with a ladder?
With a ladder, all of the ones from that section get in no matter what.
Exactly. So Shelley would be very unhappy if she had not eliminated that ladder.
But that doesn't mean I've lost the game. That's just -10 points for that one region.
Right. Along with that, every prestige pig gets you 2 points. Every attack that you did gets you 3 points. And then I'm going to swap this one out really quick because this is an easy one. We did this one. Then you look at all of your hexes and you score for them. So this is 2 points for every pig in the green area. So I get 2 extra points for this pig. And then you look at the tallest part of your wall, regardless of where it is, and it's 5 points for each level of the wall in that area. And that's the scoring. So that is Castle Raisers. So as we always say at this point, honey, what'd you think?
I think it's amazing. It's so much fun. I love this game. It's great.
This was a really pleasant surprise.
I mean, we loved it 2 players, but it was for us, it was even better, more players.
Oh my goodness, yeah. We had the nephews over. They have to be up from Southern California. And we were like, hey, let's sit around. And we had this game kind of out, and we were like, let's try this. And we had really liked it 2 player.
Oh, yeah.
But man, 4 player, it was good.
Yeah. I mean,
really good.
That makes the picking the start player very important.
Oh my goodness, yes.
But I mean, you also, if you're getting that, then you're probably wanting to get some of these yellow tiles on your board as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What was really nice is that what seems, based on the 3 little pigs, so you've got a kid's story, right? But they have implemented it in such a way that it's really a castle defense game with some very straightforward, easy to understand rules that is very family friendly and very fun. And I will say
especially because the attacks are not just for one person.
Yeah.
If you attack, it depends on how many of these red ones you have, right?
Well, it's what people have left out there for you. And you're also doing it because, and everybody gets attacked. It's not like, they could pick on me or pick on Shelley or whatever the case may be.
And you just put those wolves in that area, and you try to deal with them.
Yeah, exactly.
And you try to make your walls so that you can have those cauldrons visible, or cover a cauldron to be able to deal with them. To trigger them. But it doesn't feel mean though.
No, it doesn't.
No, it's really fun.
I just really like this game.
Yeah, I do too. Okay? I do too.
Very fun. Yeah. Great pieces. Love the 3D look of the board as it's, you're building up, and it's really straightforward in that regard. So again, this is Castle Raisers from Wonderful World Board Games, designed by Erwan, Minous, and Anthony Perone, for 1 to 4 players, has a co-op, has a solo, but the competitive is really fun. For about 45 minutes of your time, this is a great one to check out. Now, it is just coming out here in the U.S. It is going to they are going to have a booth at Gen Con, and so you should head over to the booth and check it out on your own. I saw it online and was like, oh my gosh, I've got to check out and see if we can get a copy and be able to review this. And I am so glad that we did. Really, really solid stuff. Remember, we have that contest. head down, make sure you've subscribed. It's getting close to giving away. We're going to talk about that on the 1000th episode, which is in about 2 weeks from when this drops. And you need to make sure you subscribe and write a comment. So you've seen the video, write us a comment. Right. What do you think? Dude, I don't remember this soup thing. Do you remember the soup thing from the Three Little
Maybe
Pigs?
you don't remember ones that have arrows either.
Yeah.
Shooting
I don't remember
I don't really remember that
arrow
either.
shooting. Yeah, exactly.
Or ones that take two pots of soup
exactly,
to kill.
the Uber Wolf, right, exactly. So we'd love to hear your comments. Subscribe. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye.